All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's General Green. God bless you. Saluting with the left hand, holding the camera in the right. So, major news. Getting my ass kicked today. I'm on a major mission to get freaking jacked, man. I got work to do. Got work to do, my man. But you're always fighting. Always fighting to get better. Always fighting to get bigger. Always fighting for what you believe in. Again, if you wake up in the morning, you don't have something worth fighting for. It's not even worth being alive. In Japan, they got something called the ikigai. That means it's your homeostasis with your life, a purpose-filled, God-first, faith-first, mission-driven life. And there's not even a word for retirement, for example. In Japan, it doesn't even exist. People work really for the rest of their lives. Because if you stop working, you die. In fact, in the blue zones, centenarians, super centenarians above 110 years old, most all of them work. Also, diet. They do light intensity exercise. They like to walk. Almost all of them garden in places like Okinawa and eat a lean diet of fish and vegetables and also select fruits. So this God kicks my ass today. Kicks my ass. I'm just climbing up the mountain. I'm here to motivate you, but also tell you what's going on in the world. One, Donald Trump just nationalized Intel. I understand why he did that, took a 10% position. But honestly, it shows you that America is transforming, changing forever. What that means is we don't really have capitalism. It's much more a nationalistic, even arguably, I mean, the left will call it fascism, but really I think it's more nationalism. It means we don't really have capitalism. So for example, most Fortune 100 companies are already run, owned, and nationalized by the US government. This happened in 2008 and also 2009. All the big banks, essentially the governments, took a stake, bailed themselves out, then assured record profits on the backs of you, taxpayers. See how that worked? You bailed them out, they screwed you, they collapsed the system, 08 and 09. Then they took the assets to the moon that they grabbed from you, right? Took stakes in all the companies they artificially pumped with low interest rates and bailouts and got even richer. So, what we see in America is kind of, some of these things are good. It's kind of like what's going on in El Salvador right now. So if you're following El Salvador, they're cleaning up the borders, booting everybody out, getting rid of all the gangbangers, right? Same thing here in the United States. However, it's also kind of creating more of a Singaporean type country. And that could be good or bad. For example, one of the things I love about America so much is our freedom, our constitutional rights, the fact that we can bear arms, those kinds of things. But, as we move more authoritarian, even if Trump is the good guy, which I believe he is, and he's now arming the National Guard, all it'll take is for a radical, leftist, lunatic, lockdown cuck to get into power, maybe a Gavin Newsom, new scum. And who knows, they might just confiscate the Second Amendment altogether. So again, this sets a dangerous precedent. It also proves my point that the opportunities are a lot outside of the country. Now, there's still opportunity in America. It's a great place. We have more wealth, and I still believe more freedom than anywhere in the world. However, as we lose these rights, and it doesn't seem like anyone's fighting back except you and me, right? With islandproject.com and independent American sovereignty and no bank debt, just kicking ass every single year, making record profits in Bitcoin, crypto, Ethereum breaking a new all-time high yesterday, that if the American people allow this, the great majority, they're going to find themselves much more like Singapore in a world order very soon. It's just a matter of time. So again, there's advantages of Singapore, super clean. They'll cane your ass if you litter on the ground. You're screwed, right? If you do. You can't even carry a bottle of water on the metro, which is like cleanest in the world. You walk around with your $100,000 Rolex, no one's going to bother you. You could have a bag of money, drop it, leave it. Seriously though, just leave it on the ground, open. No one's going to take it because they know they'd get caned or far worse. But my point is, even though there's advantages overseas, I'm not sure I want America to mimic that. So it's a very dangerous precedent. We can also argue it's smart of Donald Trump because, of course, we want the American taxpayer to take some equity for their investment. However, that assumes the government operates smoothly and another leftist doesn't get in and steal all that money I mean, again, do we really trust our government? Of course not. We know, again, it's wasteful. It's not efficient at all. And it's just a matter of time once Donald Trump gets out of office. So that's huge. In addition to that, Ethereum broke a new all-time high. It is possible that in the future, there could be about a 50% chance a coin toss at Ethereum actually circumvents Bitcoin as the #1 blockchain in the world in terms of its aggregate network power. Ethereum's chain, which is about 400, 500 billion, compared to Bitcoin's 2.3 trillion, could actually exceed Bitcoin in terms of total market network cap. Market cap, or its defined network power. That's possible, and here's why. Wall Street wants it to happen. Peter Thiel, if you don't know him, invented Ethereum loosely. In fact, he bought, I think that's pretty much a good word for it, and invested in Vitalik Buterin with a $100,000 grant in the early days before the Genesis launch of Ethereum ever existed. Essentially, Peter Thiel funded the launch in the Genesis block of Ethereum and funded Vitalik Buterin today. So there's a self-interest, and these people are the masters of the universe, supposedly, in this world that we currently live, have an incentive to blow up and scale Ethereum to the next level. So we're kind of seeing this happen on Wall Street today. We are seeing it with, of course, Bitminer and Tom Lee. He's always on CNBC frequently, and he's got a new company, which is an Ethereum treasury company. We're going to see this from Litecoin soon as well. So keep your eye out for that, and understand, through all my school and coursework, over the last 15, now going on 16 years, I've always recommended that your top 3 positions should be Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, because we know they're going to stick around, and they're the blue chips. They're the Apple computers, they're the Microsofts, they're the Google's equivalents, the Tesla. So you don't want to avoid them. They're the Amazon. You want to buy them. And it's just a competition and really a race to see who wins and who's victorious. This is not to say that, again, I'm a Bitcoin bull. I still think Bitcoin will crush $1 million soon. It's going to pull a 10x minimum, and then it's going to go to 2-3 million. People like Michael Saylor believe it's going to trade at 13 million plus a coin. At that point, we won't even be really valuing it in USD anymore. It's just be much more viewed as a securitized asset that you can borrow against and use for other purposes, say to buy a home or start a business. And that's where everything is going. That's what the American people really don't understand. You don't really have to sell any of these assets. You can borrow against them, and there's tax advantages doing that. You can stake Ethereum at 3%. So that makes Ethereum really interesting too. If you own $1 million worth of Ethereum, you can stake it at 3%, make 30 grand a year in income, let's say if you're a retiree, and probably triple your money in the next 12 to 18 months. Not a bad deal, right? You get paid to wait, you triple your money, and it probably 10x's long term. And it's going to trade at above $1 trillion market cap at some point, just like Bitcoin is, and just like XRP is moving that direction. So as I work my way up the hill of life, up only. Again, guys, it's up only to the king. You do understand that. As God and myself kick my own ass, because this is the secret to success. You have to put your mindset, and you got to push past limits that you've never set for yourself before. I've been so high scaled up in some of these volcanoes sometimes, I'm not sure if I'm honestly, going to have to radio in. But again, until you push the envelope, until you push yourself to failure, until you push yourself to extreme, you'll never really know what you're capable of. So as we move into next week, of which Trump has unlocked the golden age, and I'm expecting full new record all-time highs, just as we've predicted, just as Ethereum just broke. Same with Bitcoin hitting 124K just a couple days ago, just like I predicted. I'm expecting a rocket ship leading in to the World LibertyFi token launch, Trump's other company, which he'll assure its success because they're insiders and all of his consultants work for him. And they are Wall Street, for crying out loud. They are essentially, the Goldman Sachs. So they're obviously going to tokenize when it's very, very profitable, when there's maximum liquidity in the marketplace. And that'll be something to look out for. Another reason to get involved at my school at islandprojectclub.com, because there are things I can't say online. I've got a new and soon-to-be new 1000X pick to launch. I've also got my opinion, I have to say, not financial advice, on how to rotate assets, how to earn yield, what assets I think are best to stake, what to do in the long term and the short term, advantages of owning these select assets and more, and then just explaining technologies you've never heard about before, way ahead of the curve. For example, if you would have known like I did 10 years ago or more, that Ethereum was actually created by Peter Thiel and the PayPal mafia, Elon Musk and all those guys that own the entire internet today, and you would have known like I did that he funded Vitalik Buterin, you probably would have invested like I did early in Ethereum. And by the way, it's all public knowledge. All you have to do is read. All you have to do is actually educate yourself. That's it. And so what we've done at school, at the club, on theprojectclub.com, make sure you get in. Last chance to get in at the 1,500. Prices are going up. Last chance to get in. Last chance to book a call. I've got one call today and many more next week. You can either spend the next 15, 20 years of your life like I did, learning all this stuff, digging into it, traveling all over the world, meeting billionaires like Jim Rogers and others, speaking on stages at blockchain events, studying, making mistakes, doing all this for the last 15, 20 years. It's made me very rich. All that very hard work, that testing work, moving up the hill, up only. Or you can simply click link below, and for $1,500, you can get in right away. And what took me 20 years will take you 5 minutes in my next video. And I'll tell you exactly what to do, exactly how to pivot, leverage, and profit, and kick your own ass to success. Up the mountain, up only, to the freaking moon. 1,000 freaking X links below, man.